And welcome back to the Murdy Creative Co podcast. I'm your host, Colin Murdy, and today's topic is the elephant in the room. But first, I want to say thank you to everyone who's supported the company so far. If you haven't got a chance, go check us out on the web at murdycreative.co. That's M-U-R-D-Y creative.co. Be sure to check out all of our links in the socials bar at the top and join our Discord server to get some more behind-the-scenes stuff. Also, join murdycreative.co/collab to become one of our collaborators and sell product and get a little commission for doing so. So, for those of you who've been paying attention to our bar fiasco for the last couple of weeks, hopefully we're coming to the end, well, the beginning of a new chapter, the end of the current chapter. I'm going to say the beginning of a new chapter because this is going to change soon. We've bought the mill. The mill has been bought, paid for. All of the money is exchanged hands. Everything's gone where it's need to gone. And the only thing left now is the mill to actually arrive at our location, which should be happening today as I'm recording this. Now, the mill is going to come in multiple pieces. And by multiple, I mean like thousands. It's going to be a whole process. But beyond that, it's going to come on 3 pallets. And I'm not looking forward to this. That's actually not technically true. I am kind of looking forward to this. This is kind of like fun stuff for me. But realistically, we got a big problem. The building that we exist in is an old toy factory built in the 1960s. Now, you wouldn't be able to tell that from looking at it. It looks like a low, gray, squat, gray building in the middle of nowhere. It's like the old joke that the Lutherans build churches that look like God's potato barn. We're actually in what would be the potato barn. It's a big warehouse that the back half is rented out by a different company. The building is owned by a different company, and then we are in the front half of the building. When it was a toy factory, the part that we were in was originally the offices, and the back half was obviously the workshop. Concrete floors. For us, it's concrete floors with carpet over the top, cinder block walls that have drywall over them, and a concrete roof. So it's designed in the 1960s and built in the 1960s, obviously for nuclear Armageddon. But what that means is that the ability for us to modify the building in any way, shape, or form is severely limited. Now, for those of you who remember when we moved the press into the building, I took the door frames off of the 36-inch wide door frames to reveal the 40-inch wide cinder block opening, and I had to take a tiny little bit out of either side of the bottom of the cinder block wall to allow for the pallet to fit through perfectly. That was the process to get it in from the front. Now, that was going through the front door. These ones are going to be coming in the back. So now I've got to make the same hole in the back hole of the back room and do the same thing over again. That was bad enough when it was the press. That was challenging enough. And you'd think that the mill coming into a million little pieces would make it easier for us to get it in through the door. And you'd be partially correct. We have to get all of the enclosure, the base, the cooling system, all of that stuff. We have to get that in the room separately. Those will be relatively straightforward. They're going to be heavy, but they'll be individual pieces. But the mill itself comes as one monolithic piece for obvious reasons. The mill itself is cast iron. The base is cast iron. You may ask yourself, well, why do they do that? Well, for those of you who know, you know, and those of you who don't, cast iron, after it's cast and after it's let sit, can be ground flat, and because of its weight, its dimensionality, because of a lot of its material properties, it's extremely stable as a material. It doesn't warp, it doesn't move once it's finished. So it makes the ideal base for a machine like this, where precision is important because you can make the cast components very, very precise, and they stay that way. They're also extremely heavy. When I talked to the salespeople last Monday, they said it can fit through a 36-inch wide door. And the answer is I believe it can. However, the problem is not getting it through the door. The problem is getting it on the pallet through the door because the machine itself supposedly weighs 1,300 pounds. So I have no idea how I'm going to get this elephant in the room. That's not entirely true. I have some ideas. All of them just lunacy. But the best one I've got so far, and this depends on how it's coming on the pallet, is to take a saw and cut the edges off the pallet so that the pallet is 36 inches wide, and then try to use our little pallet jack to pull it into the room. If that doesn't work and there's a 50-50 shot that the pallet's not set up correctly to do that. The next step, well, I don't have a lot of good next steps. We're going to really hope that works. Getting the machine through the door is one step. Getting the machine then in front of the base, where it needs to go on top of, is the next step. Now, the base is probably 18 inches tall. So we have to then get the machine from the pallet and theoretically in the room, then from the where it's at the floor, up on top of that cast iron base. Now, because we're in the equivalent of an office building and all of the doors are the normal size doors with 36-inch wide space between them, we can't get a forklift in here. There is a type of pallet jack called a scissor jack that is able to fit through the doors, and it theoretically will be able to rise up high enough-ish. However, it's $1,000 to buy that machine, and there's really no reason we'd need it other than this particular case. I've looked at renting them. Nobody around here has one. So, I'm going back in time. In the old days, long ago, when man sailed the seas with sails, they used to load heavy, heavy boxes, wooden crates, onto ships using all sorts of mechanical means that were not electric or hydraulic or pneumatic, but were just machines, simple machines, levers, pulleys, rope, things like that. And there's a great YouTube series out there where a guy is working on debunking the idea that the Israelites couldn't have built the pyramids, or slaves couldn't have built the pyramids because they couldn't have moved the 20-ton blocks. His whole YouTube channel is actually devoted to demonstrating how, with simple tools and with simple materials and with simple machines set up in the right way, even one person can by themselves push a 20-ton block. Now, I've been watching a lot of his videos, and I feel pretty confident that we can do this. The best idea I have so far to get the machine to lift to its current space is a combination of tilting the machine and sliding a block underneath it, a thin piece of wood, for example, and then tilting it up and sliding another piece of wood and then tilting it up and basically walking it 1/4 inch at a time, 1 inch at a time, up to the right height. Theoretically, depending on the width of the table, depending on the width of the base and how this all looks out, and like I said, some of this I'm still going to have to make on the fly. If we can get the machine up to the right height, we can move the base underneath it. And if we build it that way, we might be able to then move the base and the machine backwards using the pallet jack again. Conversely, we do the lifting part on the pallet jack, and the last step is to slide the now correctly height positioned machine over the base and then lower the pallet jack down and pull it out. But all of this is theory. I have no idea how this thing needs to go together. Normally, in the world of machining, you'd just have a forklift lift the mill on top of the thing and you'd lower it down like a crane, but that's not an option to us because there's no universe we could fit a forklift in the door even if we could, and then the height of the ceiling becomes a different problem. So, we've got to figure out how to do this. We have to figure out how to do this not only in a way that doesn't hurt anybody, which is important to me, but in a way that doesn't damage the machine, and that's obviously its own tricky problem. The table and the base of the machine have specific points where you wouldn't want to lift them by because the weight of the machine could bend the table. The table and by the table I mean the thing that the material that you're machining sits on top of is rated to 500 pounds. Lifting it by the table when the machine's 1,300 pounds will bend the table up. So, all in all, this has to be done carefully and on purpose with great precision, and I have no idea how we're going to do it yet. But where there's a will, there's a way, and the world of simple machines is powerful. You can do a lot with a lever. So we just need to figure out how to do it. We have cleared an enormous space in the back room where the machine's going to go. Shockingly, actually, I was surprised how much space we were able to get clear when we were trying to figure out as much space as possible. So we got a lot of space back cleared in that back corner to give me plenty of room to build and to work and to try to build machines that will lift this thing. And we will do it. We will get this elephant in this room. come hell or high water. Getting it out of the room, if we ever move, that's going to be a different story. And man, we just might have to knock down a wall or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out then. Frankly, we should have knocked down the wall the first time around, but I digress. So that's the main challenge of this week. Getting this mill to the workshop, through the doors, up onto its pedestal. And then once it's up on its pedestal, then I have to actually put the rest of the pieces together and then make it work. Putting the rest of the pieces together is relatively straightforward. They have nice instruction videos to watch on how to put it together. And I'm glad we bought the mill we did, because virtually nobody else sells mills like this, where they're in pieces. Virtually every mill that you buy, they put it together at their factory or their location. They calibrate it. They deliver it to your place. It's one monolithic machine that is lifted by very powerful forklifts, put in place, and then recalibrated in the location. That's how virtually all of them are. Well, that obviously doesn't work for our location, because there's no way you could fit a forklift through the door like we've talked about, and there's no other place to put it that doesn't require us to either rent more space from the landlord, which we'd have to renegotiate our contract with, and I don't think he's willing to do that because there's other issues that are there at play. But the main problem that we have to deal with right now is that we have to pull this off, and we have to pull it off. The money has been spent. The deals have been signed. So there's only one version of this, which is that the machine gets into place and gets operational. But the electrical work's done. It's in place. It's ready to go. The machine's been purchased. It's going to be on its way. So now it's up to me. We've been here before. Not quite like this. Anyway, I'm really excited about this machine. I'm excited for what it can do in the short run, making our bars. But I'm more excited about the possibilities it opens up for the company. During COVID, the very beginning of COVID, in March of 2020, when nobody knew anything about it and everyone was forced to stay home and they were going to close all the businesses that didn't comply or that were, quote, non-essential, we started making masks. We turned on a dime to do it, by the way. We totally revamped our entire process. We totally came up with new supply chains, new work processes, workflows, it was an entirely new product out of an entirely different material. But we did it, and it kept us in business. This machine is part of that same vision that I have, even then and I have now, which is that I want the company to be able to make anything. I want us to be quality American manufacturing in any space, so that if things were to happen in the world writ large that required us to change, and change quickly, or change in a very serious, drastic way, we would have the machinery, the capability, the practice, the experience in all different kinds of manufacturing, from metal to glass to leather to wood to rubber to anything, so that we could move and we could pivot. Because that's how we make sure that no matter what happens, we can keep in business. And I think this is a good first step towards that, or 12th step towards that, whatever we're on now. And I appreciate all of you who've been supportive of the company and have been part of this vision, being committed to making these quality products. And I'm very excited for the next products that we're going to launch. The bars, they're not exciting. They're part of the same product that we've always been launching. But just think of what we can make on a metal mill. Because I am, and I've got a lot of fun ideas. So stay tuned for those. They're going to be coming. Well, if it was up to me, they'd be here yesterday, because I have no patience whatsoever. So I'd like things to arrive in an instant. But realistically, they're going to probably be a couple of months out while we get things nailed down and I learn how to use this machine. But they're coming. They will be coming. Thank you guys for tuning in today. Be sure to check back in next Tuesday for that next topic. And don't forget to check on Thursday for the behind-the-scenes email. If you haven't been enjoying our behind-the-scenes email, and you're not getting our writing tips either, feel free to send us an email to sales, S-A-L-E-S, at murdycreative.co and ask if you could be put on that list. We're happy to expand that list. We have ways of doing it. We don't send that list out to everybody because that'd be 3 emails a week and it'd be a lot. So what we end up doing is we have a smaller, narrower list of the people that are very interested and they want to get that stuff. They're subscribed to that behind the scenes email, and that comes out on Thursday. And that's just a letter. That's just a long letter where I talk about things that didn't get covered in the podcast. So if you want to join that list and you haven't been joining that list already, send us an email. We'd be happy to get you on that. If you got any questions, concerns, issues whatsoever with your binder, journal, folio, anything we sell, reach out to us on the main page of our website at murdycreative.co. You just scroll down to the bottom, the contact form's there. You can also send us an email directly at sales, S-A-L-E-S, at murdycreative.co, sales@murdycreative.co. You can give us a phone call, 414-434-9001. You can text us at that number as well. We're available Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Central Time, and we are here to help. If you're unhappy in any way, please let us know. Frankly, if you're really happy, you can let us know that too. We love those emails. We get those every so often, and they're really quite a wonderful thing. If you'd like to leave us a review, go to murdycreative.co/review. It really does help us. We have all of those wonderful reviews. They are like bright, sunshiny days and dark winter days. So it's really nice to have that. If you have any thoughts on podcast topics you want to hear more about, send them my way. I'm always happy to talk about anything, and I want to hear from you guys. Also, be sure to join our Discord server if you want to communicate back and forth. We have a podcast discussion there where people submit their ideas and talk back and forth about stuff. So I'd love to hear those, and I'd like to talk with people there. So check that out on our Discord channel. You can get in that with the link at the top of our website where the socials are, or in the top of the description below. If you're looking for custom orders, we have custom engraving available for no minimum order quantities and no setup fees. It's just a simple flat fee, normally about $15. And you can get just one item if you want, or we do have bulk discounts available. So you can add everything to your cart. You can mix and match to your heart's desire. And you can hit checkout, and it'll automatically apply the appropriate bulk discount. You're not exactly sure what number of products you want, but you got a specific discount you're hoping to get. Feel free to reach us out. We're happy to discuss the bulk discount program and see if we can't get you that right number. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Have a great day, and goodbye.